Push P. Yeah, push P. Turn me up. Turn me up, P. Corners in the paddock, get my piece. Push P. Cop new hammers for my P. We don't want.
All right, so moving on to the next video. Okay, so this next video, I mentioned this at the very beginning that I wanted to talk about this. This is in regards to Tina Campbell. I want to talk about her next. So, just to kind of fill you in if you're not really sure on what's going on with that. So Tina Campbell is half of the gospel group Mary Mary. If y'all familiar with, I don't know how many of y'all listen to gospel in here. I of course listen to gospel. I'm a church girl. Well, used to be a church girl, but I still love my little gospel and stuff. But they had the song Shackles back in the 2000s. They've been working and had countless albums over these last 20 plus years. So it's her and her sister. So it's Tina Campbell and her sister Erica Campbell. They are both married to cousins. So Tina is married to Teddy Campbell and Erica is married to Teddy's cousin, Warren Campbell. Warren Campbell is a big-time producer. I'm sure a lot of y'all are probably familiar with him. But anyway, Teddy recently filed for divorce from Tina after being together for 25 years. They have been separated for the past 2, and this is mainly due to Teddy constantly cheating. Been cheating on Tina for years, off and on. And this actually played out, about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, because Mary, Tina and Erica, they had their own show. They had their own reality show on, I can't remember if it was WeTV or if it was the OWN network. I think it was WeTV, but they had their own reality show years and years ago. During one of the seasons of the show, Tina and Teddy's marriage kind of played out in front of everybody because it came out during filming that he had been cheating on her. And at first she thought it was just like maybe 1 or 2, but then it come to find out that he done cheated on her with a busload of bitches, basically. So just a harem of bitches, just left and right. And it seemed like every time she found out about one, then the next week she found out about another one and another one and another one. This has been going on for so long. Like I said, this was 10 years ago when that happened. And they finally, I guess, separated 2 years ago, back in 2024. And just the other day, so I guess maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, he filed for divorce, finally. And so what I want to talk about on that is how everybody, I've watched so many videos on this for the last few days. I think I might actually do an actual video on this and kind of do like a deep dive into that. But right now, I'm just kind of giving like my initial reaction to everything that I've been seeing and everything that's kind of been coming out over these last few days. I'm noticing how everybody's mad at Teddy. Everybody's mad at Teddy. They're mad at Erica too, because everybody's like, well, why didn't Erica just leave? He cheated 10 years ago. Why he didn't just leave? Why she didn't just hurry up and leave? And so everybody's kind of on her about that, but then everybody's all mad at Teddy, like, well, if you was doing all this cheating, why you just didn't leave her, da-da-da-da-da? You knew you was going to be cheating again. Why you didn't leave, da-da-da-da-da? So yeah, I want to get into that. And out of all the videos that I watched on this, I actually want to react I want to react to Rivah TV. She actually talked about this. I think she did a video on this one. I want to say this was either yesterday or today. And I watched this, and she definitely had some good thoughts and some good points to make on that. But of course, I have to give my thoughts and opinions and add my 11 cents to this as well. So, without further ado, let me cue this up here. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. Uncle Derek says, "Hi, Ghost."
Hi.
All right, so this is from Rivah TV. Shout out to Rivah TV. Fair use, fair use. Gospel singer dumped after husband cheats. All right, let's go.
My husband cheated on me, and I was devastated. I was angry. I cut, I crashed, I attacked, I stabbed, I plotted. I did a lot of stuff. I'm a firm believer that charity begins at home and then it spreads. And then I forgot that part. And so I contributed to the distance in our relationship.
I'm just saying, though, like, I like for you to look a little more like I like for you to look.
I started realizing how faulty I was. The fact that I've been a contentious wife the entire time I've been married to him. I'm sitting up here running around being the face of gospel, encouraging everybody, being more of a really good Christian in theory. Like, I don't need you for too much of this because I run stuff. I got the baby, so I got love. I don't need the other kind of love. I'm fine, at least for a little while. You know what I mean? Because I got her. You know what I mean? And so
I'll
he was just
with you next month.
He was just there, and so we grew distant because I was here, and then he was there.
Rivah TV. What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I'm back again with another video. If you guys did not know what's going on, gospel singing group Mary Mary, both singers, Tina and Erica, have been going viral this week. One is, as you can see, Tina and her husband Teddy on the screen, because he filed for divorce from her. And, a man filing for divorce is already cause for conversation, right? Because we know that men don't naturally just do that first. But also because they had their own TV show, and on said TV show, he brought forth the fact that he had, multiple, women that he was cheating with. Okay.
My husband cheated on me, and I was devastated. I was angry.
And then we have the other sister, Erica, who is going viral because amongst all of, the conversation of their divorce coming out, she has spoken out and said that she is doing a vow renewal for her 25 years of marriage.
This year, I celebrate 25 years of marriage. And me and my husband, Warren Campbell, are getting married again.
So we're going to go ahead and dive into the conversation. And of course, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, and my opinion on this entire situation. So as you can see here, it says gospel star Tina Campbell's husband files for divorce. Then it says Tina's husband, Glendon Campbell, who everybody knows as Teddy, filed for divorce in Los Angeles County on Monday, citing the standard irreconcilable differences as the reason for the split, according to legal docs obtained by TMZ. Glendon says the couple tied the knot back in August 2000 and separated in June 2024, marking more than 2 decades of marriage before things fell apart. The docs say the two share minor children together, and although Glendon didn't check any boxes about custody, he did ask the court to establish visitation and ask for any spousal support issues to be sorted out down the line. Glendon checked the boxes indicating there are no separate or community property issues needing division, which could mean a smoother split, or that there's some sort of agreement or other negotiations behind the scenes. Now, again, right? We know, especially when we have these conversations, whether publicly or, celebrity commentary or whatever, majority of the time, it is the woman who files for divorce. Men don't normally file. Okay. It don't mean that men don't normally want to, or that men don't normally want to walk away from marriages, but men don't normally file for divorce, mainly because they do not get the same support walking away from their marriages, or their families, for that matter, as women do, right? If a woman leaves her marriage, people are going to say that it's the man's fault. If a woman decides that she wants to graduate from her marriage.
My marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation.
Women are going to say, wow, you have so much strength and courage.
The amount of support and the encouragement that I've gotten has been incredible. Just saying your courage inspires me.
But if a man does it, he's not going to get like any kind of love or support or adoration for the things that he's doing, right? And so men don't normally file for divorce. Now, I remember back in the day when Mary had their TV show, I actually used to watch the TV show, right? And so I watched the whole full, season of what was going on and the infidelity. And if you guys, are unaware of that, basically she found out that he was cheating on her, and, they talked about it, and she basically had her breakdowns on the show.
I have been trying since the very beginning. The situation gets a little worse, and then I try to forgive, and it gets a little worse, and I try to forgive. You gonna keep adding people? You gonna keep adding people? I thought we had a good life just like everybody else watching. I thought we was the ideal relationship just like everybody else.
That infidelity, I want to say, happened anywhere between like 8 to 10 to maybe even 12 years ago. Okay. It was absolutely a long time ago. And, they were.
It was 2014. I remember that episode too.
Able to work it out so much so that they ended up doing like a vow renewal of their own that took place on the TV show. And I mean, things appeared to be fine, right? For the last couple of years, they sat down and did like various different interviews. They were on the Steve Harvey show.
Caller. And so he did. And he was like, Tina wants to know, and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, are you sleeping with my husband? And she hung up the phone. So I had my answer. So it broke my heart. Either I'm going to die wrong or live right. And so we've been working on living right.
They sat down and did, a podcast on YouTube that they talked about things.
I'm a firm believer that charity begins at home and then it spreads. And then I forgot that part. And so I contributed to the distance in our relationship by being a boss and not needing him.
There are a couple of different types of relationships. There are relationships where,
right there.
The husband and wife are able to be completely honest with each other and the other person doesn't get offended and they're able to, hash things out and have conversations because they're able to bring truth to the table. Then you have the relationships where people are both bringing a facade to the conversation and pretending to be something that they're not, and their truth gets buried. And then you have the people who are where one person is truthful and one person is unable to be truthful because of the other person's emotions.
I had hope when all of this started, when I let the whole world know about it. I thought we was healing because he had me thinking that we was healing. You can't keep telling me stuff a little bit. You wait 2 months, then you tell me something else. You wait 2 weeks, then you tell me something else. You torturing me, man. You torturing me. Why you putting me through all of this? Break my heart once. You gonna break my heart every month?
Now listen, okay? 2 things can be true. Him cheating and knowing that he was committed to this woman and married this woman that has children with her and all that, absolutely wrong, okay? Bold-faced wrong. If you didn't want to, deal with these things or be in this relationship or whatever the case is, you could have left, right? But there's a caveat to this conversation, and that caveat is that a lot of times men stay in relationships or marriages that they don't want to be in concern of the other party. Right? If the other party, when they tell them the truth, starts acting a fool, starts threatening, themselves or other people, when they start, creating like this whole other thing that we have to be concerned about, it creates a space that you're no longer able to be honest with one another, because now we have to coddle the person who is acting or showing these kind of behaviors.
I cut, I crashed, I attacked, I stabbed, I plotted. I did a lot of stuff. I could not control the heaviness and the depression and the sadness that was on me. So I'm like, my family is ruined. How about I ruin all y'all families? Then I'll just take myself out and get away with it.
And that happens on both sides. You have some women who say they don't want to be in a relationship and the man start acting crazy, right? He start acting like he can't, be whatever. And then the woman is now, subjected to stay in that relationship or that situation because, I don't want this person to go through this, or I don't want this kind of outcome. And that's not how it should be.
Nope.
It should be a space that you are able to communicate with one another and be honest with one another. That's what a relationship truly is. I always say, as a woman, let a man tell you and show you exactly where he wants to be so that you know where you stand. If you're holding the grips of the relationship and you're the one who is holding it together because of what you want to happen and what you want the outcome to be, you are now living in your reality instead of the truth of what the actual situation is.
But I did begin to feel remorseful about how could you make your husband feel ignored, where he would even think to consider anybody else's attention.
That means that at the root of that infidelity is some kind of unhappiness within his marriage.
I started realizing how faulty I was. The fact that I've been a contentious wife the entire time I've been married to him. I'm sitting up here running around being the face of gospel, encouraging everybody, being more of a really good Christian in theory than in reality.
And the thing that a lot of women have to understand is that men have a tally.
At least she took accountability. I will give her that. She took accountability for what she possibly did, and that's what a lot of women don't do. That a lot of women don't think that they're doing anything wrong or that they did anything wrong, and that's where all the problems lie, for real,
in their head. And so a man will remember the wrongs you did. He'll remember all the words you said when you disrespected him, when you guys were having an argument, when those words meant nothing to you, but you were hitting below the belt in the argument. A man keeps track of all those things. And when you do something else on top of that, even though there is forgiveness in between, even though you guys make amends in between, sometimes when a man looks at you, that's all he sees. Is the things that you've done, is the boundaries you've crossed, is the things that you said. He doesn't see that beautiful woman that he married that he's so in love with.
And it's funny, sometimes I would just sit in his face and say, why are you here? And he would say, because when you're lovely, you're the most lovely person I have ever experienced.
In a marriage, okay, you have to, again, like I said before, create the space for your partner to be able to be honest with you. Okay, that means you have to sit there and control your emotions and don't act the fool with what you hear. You have to sit there and control your emotions and don't get in your feelings if he's calling you out on some of the behavior that's exuding. Don't get in your feelings and get defensive when he's telling you the things that he would like you to change or rearrange in the relationship. Don't get egotistical. Don't get aggressive. Create that space, because if you don't, you're going to have a man who is in a relationship with you and he's your husband by title, and that's it.
I'm just saying, like, I like for you to look a little more like I like for you to look.
He's going to feel like, oh, she's too fragile for me to, tell her the truth. So I can't be honest with the person I'm supposed to be honest with her with.
Okay.
Then she's too fragile for me to actually step away from this situation. So I can't step away and leave. Then she's clinging to me, and trying to force me to make something work when I don't feel something, but then she's not willing to commit to the change that's necessary to make me want to be here.
Yep.
It's like a prison.
Yep.
I was like, God, I was in a pit and I thought I was going to leave this earth and take some people with me. And I was like, God, this is just so terrible.
Yeah, it helped me to stay and fight because I told it.
After a time, a woman feels like, oh yeah, well, he done did that. He done got caught. And so he definitely can't do that again. And so now he gonna have to stay with me. So I can present myself in any way. I don't have to, be intimate with him. I don't have to dress up for him. I don't have to impress him. I don't have to care about my health. I don't have to worry about style. I don't have to bring anything to the conversation anymore because he already did the worst and he's never gonna do that again.
Like, I don't need you for too much of this because I run stuff. I got the baby, so I got love. I don't need the other kind of love. I'm fine, at least for a little while. You know what I mean? Because I got her. You know what I mean? And so
I'll
he was just
with you next month.
He was just there, and so we grew distant because I was here, and then he was there.
And it's so interesting because in the dating phase, right? When people are dating and, they're trying to be the one who gets the ring, they're trying to be the one that becomes the wife. They are so willing to try, to hear, to listen, to change, to follow, to all the above.
And as soon as they get the ring, what happened?
But for some reason, once they get married to that man, they feel like he is a part of, the structure of the home. Right? He's like the paint on the walls. He ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have to present my best version of myself. I don't have to try. I don't have to do.
I got the baby, so I got love. I don't need the other kind of love. I'm fine, at least for a little while.
And it's unfair. Because if you're not giving it to him, who is?
Somebody.
Because he's a man. And unless something is broken down there, he got needs. Mm-hmm. So if you're not willing to do it and he can't go outside, then what?
Well, what? Exactly.
If you're not respectful and then somebody outside is, then what?
That's where he gonna go.
If you don't listen to him and everywhere else he goes, women listen to him, then what?
That's where he gonna go.
He's supposed to be subjected to not having intimacy, not having connection, and the person who lives with him is the one who, treats him the worst when he gets better treatment elsewhere. I went onto Teddy's Instagram and I saw that he had posted a story of him, playing the drums somewhere or whatever the case is. This looked like a man that feels like he has freedom. That's what it looks like. It's not like he's shying away from social media and he doesn't want to be seen or anything because of what's going on in the tabloids. That man looked like he don't give no care. Okay. Tina obviously put something on social media as well. And it says, still following Jesus to reach my destiny. Right now, obviously, the two of them have been separated since 2024. Right. So that's a full 2 years before any decisions have been made. I'm inclined to believe that as much as people want to, say, how dare he do this after that, obviously there is something that's going on, right? A man wouldn't necessarily just, step out of the marriage years ago and then years down the line when they're separated, be the one to file for divorce.
And it's funny. Sometimes I would just sit in his face and say, why are you here? And he would say, because when you're lovely, you're the most lovely person I have ever experienced.
You need two people committed to making matters work. It can't be one. It can't be one person want to make it work and the other person has their foot outside the door and wants to leave. It's not going to work. One person will be happy. One person will be miserable. One person will feel, complete and whole. The other person will feel imprisoned. Right. And so, again, these are just my thoughts on this situation. I was asked a multitude of times of what my opinion is and what my thoughts are. And these are all my thoughts. Okay. This is just my feelings. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this entire situation. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.
All right. Shout out to Rivah. Shout out to Rivah TV on that. All right. So, y'all heard that? Y'all seen that? Seen everything that has gone on that has led up to where we are now. And here's my thoughts. Here are my thoughts. Here are my thoughts on this. Like I said, everybody want to come down on Teddy. Well, Teddy should have left. Teddy was wrong. Teddy. He knew he didn't want to be with her. He should have left. And then they'll come around and say, well, Tina was dumb for staying. Tina should have filed for divorce the first time and blah, 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 all that. I'm not siding with anybody on this because, I always make it a point not to give so much opinion on people's marriages because that's their marriage. And so when you're married, it's different. You somehow, some way have to at least try to make it work. But if you try to make it work and it's still not going in the way that it should go, then yeah, it's time to seek other options outside of y'all. And y'all might need to finally go on y'all separate ways, which is what ultimately what they did. And I honestly believe that he did that. I believe that he did that just because he knew that she was never going to. I think that he did that hoping that she would, or expecting her to file for divorce. And in the process of her finding out everything, she crashed out like crazy because there were videos and stuff And from the Mary show, from that reality show, after all of that came out, you know, it showed her, you know, she damaged his cars, like slashed his tires, you know, smashing windshields, and you know, threatening to, you know, end his life, threatening to end her life. I mean, she out here going crazy. So I'm like, in a case like that, when you see the person that you hurt, when you see them going through that, well, the first thing that you're not gonna do, you're not gonna run down to the court to file no divorce, because at that point you thinking, well, shit, my life on the line. So what am I supposed to do? She, you know, tearing all my stuff up, and she talking about doing this and doing that because of what I mean, at that point, what do you do? You're not gonna file for divorce at that point. You like, well, shoot, well, I need to try to make this right, so she don't go crazy. That's my thing on that. And then it's just like Rivah said, you kind of have to wonder what even led to that point. What led to him all of a sudden just suddenly doing that? And this is what, 10 years? 10, well, actually, no, more like 14, damn near 15 years into their marriage, that all of this stuff started coming out. Now, whether he did this since the beginning, I don't know, because from what it doesn't look like he has. So it looks like that this has been something that had been like a little more recent at that time. So like I said, 13, 14, 15 years into the marriage, and then that's when all this stuff is coming out. So it's possible that, you know, in the beginning it was beautiful and he wasn't doing all of that. And I don't know if any of y'all have seen the reality show, but I didn't really watch the reality show like that either, but I'd seen a few episodes. I mean, besides that one, that's the one that pretty much everybody's seen that kind of went viral. But I'd seen a few episodes of the show, and Tina is very Tina's very mean. Tina can get kind of mean. She can get kind of mean. She can be vicious. She can very much be a bitch. You can clearly tell that she wears the pants in the relationship. She calls the shots. She runs the show. So, I mean, in any relationship or marriage, if a man can't feel like that he is a man from his wife, then yeah, he's, well, what you think he gonna do? He's absolutely going to go and find that elsewhere. He's gonna find it elsewhere, and more than likely he gonna keep finding it until he potentially get what he want. And it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that he got what he want, because it was so many of them. Or maybe he was just like, hey, because I'm able to get away with it and I'm enjoying it. Maybe that's why he kept doing it. We don't really know. I just don't like how everybody, like I said, I just don't like how everybody is going in, is just coming down on him. Because I'm like, it wasn't just, I mean, yeah, he's the one that he's the one that did the dirt, but I mean, it definitely was a reason behind it. And it seems like at that point, she wasn't really hearing him. She wasn't hearing his cries, his pleas, his concerns, and things like that. So that's where it got. And then I seen, have y'all been in a relationship where you hope they cheat? I have, yeah. I have. And like I said, in his case, I'm thinking maybe he hoped that she would cheat back, or she would just file for divorce, but she never did. She was going to fight for their marriage tooth and nail. This right here, he stayed because she was making more money. Maybe that's what I thought at first. That's what I initially thought when all of this started coming out. I'm like, well, you know, maybe he stayed because, you know, she was the breadwinner. But I don't really think that was the case, because even though, yeah, she's mainstream and she's the one that's selling albums, but Teddy, the husband, is very active and booked and busy. He's very much working. I can't necessarily say that she's making more of the money because she's more known and she has albums, as we know how the music industry do. You know, you can be famous and be broke as hell. So we can't necessarily assume that she's making all of this money because she's selling all these albums. We know just from all the J Diggs videos and all the damn music industry videos, and even all the videos that I've done for people on the music industry, that ain't always the case. And Teddy has been he's been a respected musician, a musician and singer for like 30 years. So it's not like it's not like, he like Nicki Minaj's husband and, just sitting in the background and not doing nothing. No, he's been working, and he's been, like I said, he's been out there in this industry for 30 years. He started out as a drummer, and that's what he does. He's still a drummer. He's like one of the most well-respected drummers out there in the industry right now. Because I remember, he started off playing a backup band for like LSG back in the 90s. He done played for Britney Spears, Chris Brown, Usher. He's played in bands on like award shows. I think at one point, I don't know if he still is, but at one point I know he was the drummer in the band for the Late Show, for the Tonight Show. So there's that. And then he's even played drums for the backup band on American Idol. I think he's still doing American Idol. I want to say he's still doing American Idol. So no, he been out there. He definitely been working. So I don't want that to be in anybody's head. Oh, well, he was broken. That's the only reason why he's still there. Nah, that ain't it. I honestly think that he was just there because he know the pain that he caused, and he trying to make it up to her. But then at the same time, she's not really making it any easier for him to even want to stay, which is how all the problems between them seemingly arose in the first place, was because of things that she was doing or things that she was not doing. And so as a man, when you try to first express yourself, and a man or a woman, if you try to express yourself in how you are feeling, and it's going on deaf ears, and they're not really trying to hear it, and all they trying to do is, oh, well, I got to do this show, this album, this, that, and the other, then yeah, what you think gonna happen? What you think gonna happen, man? That's just that. And then as far as Tina goes, by everybody getting on her about how she should have left. And honestly, I agree. She should have left. She should have left, but in a sense, I understand why she didn't. Because when you grow up in the church, in a Christian in a Christian household, divorce is like, no matter what your husband did, divorce is absolutely not an option. You need to stay there, and you need to stick with him and stick by him through all the thick and thin. That's what marriage is. You don't just throw in the towel because your man want to cheat on you. That is what we as women, especially we as women that grew up in the Christian faith, have been told. We are constantly told that. Even in the episodes after all of that happened, she said that she wanted to leave. She said, I can't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't know, if I want to do this. I think you should leave. And so she had already, expressed that she didn't know if she could do it. But then 9 times out of 10, more than likely, she had people in her ear in the church, telling her, well, you need to stick it out. You don't need to leave him. You need to fix what's wrong with the marriage. You need to stick by him. Y'all need to go to counseling. Y'all need to pray. You letting the devil come in your relationship. You letting the devil come in and ruin your marriage, come in the middle of your marriage. You need to let the outside people, keep the outside people out. But I mean, at that point, it seems deeper than that. It seems deeper than just praying the cheating away. You can't just pray for him and deliver him from cheating. That's not how this works. Just like you can't pray the gay away from somebody. That's not how this works. This is how he's feeling, and he's feeling this way for a reason, and he's been feeling this way for a while. So just because he got caught in public in front of everybody in real time, yeah, that probably made him lay low for a little bit, but that was not going to stop how he was feeling. And then at that point, like, yeah, once she forgave him and took him back and they decided to work on it, I'm almost certain she made his life hell. I'm certain she made his life hell, because that's what most of us do. Like if we've been in a relationship and somebody and one of y'all cheat, one of the people in the relationship steps outside of the relationship, and the other person finds out, and they fight and argue and they do all this stuff, and then eventually they forgive each other and try to make the relationship or marriage work. 9 times out of 10, it's always worse after y'all tried to reconcile and make it work, because now that other person that's been cheated on don't trust you for shit. So now they're going to look at everything that you're doing. They're going to be checking your phone. They're going to be checking cameras. They're going to be putting locations on your phone. So they're going to make sure that they keep an eye on you, lock and key, all the while still not doing any of the things or doing any of the work that made him straight in the first place. So now he's feeling trapped. Now he's feeling like, well, shit, I owned up to it. Okay, I'm not doing anything. But even if he ain't doing nothing, then in her mind, he's still gonna be doing something. So what he supposed to do? At that point, well, shoot, you're making it worse for me than it already is. So I might as well take my ass back out and cheat. And that's what that was. And I'm like, people don't look at the big picture when it comes to stuff like that. People don't just, well, I'm not gonna say people, because some people do. Some people just cheat just because they do it for a sport. Some people do that. But if that's not how the relationship started out and it eventually got to that point, there's a reason. There's a reason it got to that point. And that's the thing that they needed to focus on, was how did it get to that point? And it looked like that she, at least took some accountability. I'm this way and I'm that way, and she took some accountability for it. But if she wasn't still going to be willing to change that part, then what was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? Tina is a bitch. I knew that when he said, when you're sweet, you're the sweetest woman ever, or whatever. Yeah, I know. Like I said, and I think he just said that just because, because he want her to kill him. Because as we see, she's capable of doing things. She's definitely capable. She's capable of the worst. And then what was it? Steve Harvey. When they did that interview on Steve Harvey, I think I got the video of it. I think I got the video of it too, where Steve basically asked, how did you find out? And she told the story about how she found out, and then like at one point in the clip, she had said something like, I was, plotting to kill or something like that. And the people in the audience was laughing like, that ain't nothing to laugh at. That, I mean, they take it like, oh, ha 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 ha, because she's a woman and she hurt. But I'm like, that wasn't nothing to laugh at. That was absolutely nothing to laugh at. What's going on, Mo Money? What's going on? Yeah. We're talking about Tina Campbell. No, we ain't talking about Tina Knowles. What's something happened with Tina Knowles? Now I need to go look at that now. But no, we're talking about Tina Campbell. But I'm like, she was on there talking, insinuating that she had plotted to kill her husband, and people in the audience was kind of chuckling at it, like, no, that ain't funny. And Teddy didn't think that was funny either. And that's probably another reason why, let me just stick this out. So, she don't kill me and kill herself and, leave our kids, parentless and stuff like that. So I'm sure there was a lot of thought. There was a lot of thought in him finally filing that divorce. I don't think that was a decision that he took lightly. Yeah, I don't think that he just woke up and just said, you know what, yeah, I'm just finally ready to divorce. No, I think that they've been separated for 2 years. Oh, he's thought about this every day for the last 2 years. He's gone back and forth about this for the last 2 years, so where he just finally said, you know what, let me just go ahead and do it. Because she's not going to. And she wasn't going to. Because the church is all in your ear telling you need to fight, you need to fight. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do whatever you can to keep your marriage together, to get your husband, and that's what she was doing. So she wasn't going to ever file for divorce. But he wasn't happy. So yeah, eventually it was going to get to that point. And they've been separated 2 years. He probably liked how it was. He probably liked having the feeling of being free. And knew that if he went back to her and went back into the marriage and tried to make the marriage work, it was not going to go the way that he wanted it, that either of them wanted to go. So he just said, you know what, we just gonna go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and file the divorce. Let me find the video. I think I got a few of them in here actually. Okay, yep, here it is. So he said he tasted that outside cat. He wasn't coming back. No, he wasn't coming back. He ain't coming back. Here
How'd you find out about these faces?
Someone actually who knows me very well, they were watching me on the reality show, and I was always saying, I can leave all of this. I can just go and I'm just be with my husband, and I don't need none of this, just me and Teddy, and they can have this. And they were like, listen, I hate to have to say this to you, and I followed the information that I found out for 6 months to make sure it was true, because I don't want to break your heart, but for an hour and 8 minutes, he didn't give me nothing. So mother to my children, she had access to my home to come get my kids, and all that kind of stuff was very, mixed in our family. And so I called and she didn't answer her phone. So when we got home, it was Super Bowl Sunday, I said, come upstairs. I said, are you having an affair with her? And he said, no. I said, call her. Why are we doing this? I was like, call her. And so he did. He was like, Tina wants to know, and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, are you sleeping with my husband? And she hung up the phone, so I had my answer. So it broke my heart. It devastated me, and I spazzed out. I destroyed 3 cars. I cut up and crashed up and tried to stab and plotted murders and all kind of crazy stuff because I was angry. And I started doing all of that, and I said, I'm practicing dying every day. Either I'm gonna die wrong or live right. And so we've been working on living right.
See that part where you talk about plotting the murder, plotting to kill him, and you hear laughing, and you hear somebody brother, that is not funny. That ain't nothing to cheer about. And that's the damn women in the sisterhood that's cheering that shit on. Probably the same type of women that was celebrating Kevin Samuel's demise. And he heard that. And probably was like, you know what? Yeah, let me just stay where the hell I'm at. Again, what was that man supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? I don't blame him. I don't blame him for, like I said, he know what he did, and he was trying to make it right. But at the same time, in him trying to make it right, she's not making it any easier for him to the point that where he actually wants to stay. I think he just stayed until she just got fed up, and she just finally filed the divorce and left. And once we seen 10 years later that was not going to happen, then yeah, he finally did that. He finally did it. So I'm gonna be real transparent. I'm gonna be real transparent with y'all right now. I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about some of my shit. So So everybody know I'm married now, but I was married before. I had a husband before I had the one now. Was my first husband, who is now deceased. And he is actually Glam Ghost's father. So my current husband is not Glam Ghost's father. He's her daddy in every word, in every sense of the word. But my first husband is actually Glam Squad's father, right? We met and started dating very, very young. He was 18, I was like 21. And we had been married, we've been married, we were married for 5 years, but we were together for 9. We were together for 9 years. So he was 26. He was 26 when he passed, and we were together. So yeah, he was 26, almost 27 when he passed. But our marriage was not kittens and rainbows. It was not kittens and rainbows. I know, he passed. Oh, I'm sure the marriage is beautiful, and oh, hell no, oh no. My first marriage was hell on earth, child. And I can talk about it, and I can sit back and I can laugh at the shit now because we were young and we was like really just being out here, just being stupid and reckless and all that. But no, we definitely had our issues. And so a lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, I know y'all have heard me talk about, things with my husband. My husband was a comedian. My husband, if he was still alive today, everybody would know who he is. Everybody would know his name. Everybody definitely would. And I'm not just saying that because I was married to him. He was that damn talented. He just was. I would say about a few years into our relationship, I'd say probably about maybe 2-3 years into the relationship, he started to, is when he really started to take the comedy really serious. And he started to kind of gain a buzz around the city. People all around the city knew who he was. And then when comedians would come in town, he would open for them. And so then they knew who he was, because he done shows with so many people. He done Lord knows how many shows with Cat Williams. Matter of fact, one of my very first videos that I did, I actually talked about that. I talked about how my husband and Cat Williams met. And how he and Cat got my husband to do shows. Every time he came into town, my husband would open up for him. Cat would actually pay him out of his own pocket. He done several shows with Cat, done several shows with Kevin Hart. Matter of fact, we knew who Kevin Hart was when he was just still that nigga from Soul Plane. He wasn't even like Kevin Hart yet. So I done stuff with him, done stuff with Tony Rock, done stuff with the Tory brothers. Oh God, like I said, the list is endless. Done shows with Lil Rel. He done stuff with just a little bit of everybody. But once he started to gain that buzz, yeah, there are YouTube videos of him. There are YouTube videos of him. If you type in Just Jay, JUSJAY, if you type in Just Jay or comedian Just Jay, 9 times out of 10, I'm sure there are still some videos of him out there on YouTube still, because he had quite a few on there. And then he had a lot of videos on his Facebook too. I know his Facebook is still up, and I know he had a lot of videos posted on there too before he passed. But once he started to gain a buzz around the city, and people actually started knowing his name, then that's when the groupies came, and that's when all the different women started popping up. And first it was, oh well, having all these phone calls, you know, coming in at 12, 1, 2 in the morning. Okay, who is this bitch calling? Who's calling this late? Oh, well, they just calling on business. Oh, you know, we got a meeting, you know, I got a show coming up, you know, I can't, you know, I gotta talk to them, you know, when they available and da. That's what he's telling me. And then he's telling them, you know, I'm finding out later, oh, well, who was that lady that answered the phone? Oh, well, that's just my cousin. That's my cousin. You know, she just living here with us. You know, her and her boyfriend, they just living here. You know, I'm always something like, yeah. So I dealt with that. I dealt with that a lot. There were times when, you know, when I finally did get a cell phone, this is mid 2000, you know, everybody didn't have a cell phone yet, or they just had the prepaid phones or some shit like that. You know, I be at work and I get strange numbers on my phone from other women asking for him. Why do you have women calling my phone asking for you? Oh, well, it's always some business. It's always some business. Oh, well, it's just business and stuff like that. Oh, they calling me about a show. Oh, they calling me because they want me to do skits. It's always something with that. That went on for years. And then it was to the point to where, you know, he didn't even want me coming to the shows no more. Oh, well, I know you busy. I know you got to work, because I was working full time and going to school full time and still making it to his shows. But then all of a sudden, now you want me to stop coming to your shows. I couldn't understand that at first, but then I was like, oh, because now you don't want these women to know. You don't want these women to know who I am. You don't want these women to know that you married. So, like I said, it got to that. And then, like, once I finally caught him, once I finally caught wind of everything that was going on, then, oh, baby, I'm sorry. I'm going to make it up to you. I'll never do this again. Da. You think I found him? Was he a big guy? Yeah. Yep, that's him. Big guy with glasses. Yep, that's him. So yeah, like I said, it went on like that for years, and then, like I said, once I finally caught wind and kind of started finding out what was happening, then, like I said, well, you know, I'm gonna make it up to you. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You know, I ain't gonna do it no more. Da. But then he kept doing it, and no matter how hard how much I begged, how much I cried, how much I pleaded, how much I did this, that, and the other, he was still doing it. But at the time, I didn't know that the things that I was doing, the things that I was bringing to the relationship, in a sense, is what caused him to keep doing that. Because, you know, I'm a Gen X. Dog, I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X, early millennial. We are very, very headstrong women, and we have been taught by you know, the women in our lives, the women that we grew up listening to. You know, you don't need a man for shit. You know, fuck these men. You can do it by yourself. You don't need a man. All you need a man for dick, and you don't need him for that. If he can't provide you shit, da. You can do it yourself. You don't need a man, da. So we grew up thinking that we didn't need a man. I don't need you for real. So when I look back, I realized a lot of the things that I did in my relationship. I was a bitch to him. Just because I was just a bitch to him. If I felt like that he didn't do something the way that I think he should have did it, I was a bitch. I didn't make the shit easier on him. And then once I found out once I found out what he did, and we still tried to make it work and still tried to get through it, I still was being a bitch to him. I think I was an even bigger bitch at that point, because I was mad at him for what he did. So I'm just like, what did I expect him to do? What would I have expected him to do if I didn't make the situation at any point in the relationship easy for him? And it's not me blaming myself, because oh, you blaming yourself, you don't blame yourself. But no, that's what I did. I can look back on this 20 years ago, because he's been gone 15 years now. I can look back on all of that happened in them 9 years, and I was like, yeah, I would have cheated on me too. I would have cheated too. I would have done it too. And then, and you know what? And I'd say, well, 5-6 years into the relationship is when I finally decided to leave, because I knew that at that point, no matter what I did, he was not going to stop doing what he was doing. And then at that point, he had been doing the comedy for so long. Now, I mean, you got pussy coming at you from every which way. So at that point, no matter what I do or what I say, you're still going to do what you want to do. You especially gonna do it now, because now it's being thrown at you. Now you got options. You got more options than me. So of course you're gonna pick somebody that's not gonna bitch at you every 5 minutes. That's not gonna pick a fight with you and argue with you because they mad because of some shit that you did. So these bitches over here, well, they ain't got to worry about that. You ain't doing nothing to them there. So, they're making your life easier for you. So, yeah, that's where you're going to go. You're going to go there instead of staying here with me and being miserable with me. And then I'll say, well, you know what? I'm just going to leave. And I say about maybe a month after I told him that I was leaving, that's when I found out that I got pregnant, that we were pregnant. I'm like, oh, for real, all this damn time. All this time we have been together. We trying to get pregnant, ain't never got pregnant, but now, right when I'm out the door, when I'm about to leave this motherfucker, now I'm about to have a baby. And we weren't even just about to have a baby. It's not like I just found out that I was, 3 or 4 months pregnant. No, honey, I'm like 28 weeks. By the time I found out I was pregnant, I'm 28 weeks pregnant. So I'm like, at this point, I could have the baby tomorrow. If that's where it was. And so I'm like, okay, well, shit. And so now I got everybody telling me, oh, well, you can't leave now. You can't leave now. You about to have a baby. You can't be no single mother. You can't do this, and this. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to work it out. Don't let the devil come in and tear y'all marriage up. The devil ain't coming in and tearing our marriage up. He did that. And in a sense, so did I. It's not like, oh, well, the devil is coming in and we're just going to let the devil. No, we did that. I mean, you got to think, we were young. We were young when we got together. We didn't know nothing about life and about love, and we didn't know none of that shit. We didn't know how to be married. We didn't know what it really took to really make a marriage work. Not even a relationship, make a marriage work. Because in a relationship, you can still walk away at any point and won't nobody have no repercussions. But you're in a marriage, man, you gotta. That's a whole different ball. That's a whole different ball game. I bet you still care about him. Well, of course I do care about him. That was my husband, and unfortunately he is deceased. So this was, this was years ago. This was, 15 plus years ago, 15, 20, 25-ish years ago. But yeah, after I found out I was pregnant, and I was still like, well, I still want to leave. And everybody was like, well, no, y'all need to stay together. Y'all need to do this. Y'all need to do that, da. And I did. I tried to, stick it out to see what was going to happen. Even though in the back of my mind, I knew nothing was going to change. But I said, okay, well, you know what? Y'all say that, God put this baby in my life for a reason and to keep us together. Okay, well, we gonna see what happened. I had Glam Squad, had Ghost, and then not even 2 months later, he was at the movies with another woman. Yeah, I can't do it no more. Yeah, I gotta go. Because now now I have a child. Now I got a child I got to think about. I got this baby I got to think about now. So that needs to be my main focus. And I can't be constantly worried about what you doing. I can't be checking up to see where you at, who you with, what you doing, who you doing. No, I got this baby I got to worry about now. So now that's my top priority. So I think I finally left when Glenn was about 7-8 months old or something like that, and we have been separated since then. And we have been separated. We were separated when he died. Now, toward the end of the day, like I said, we were kind of in the, I think we were kind of like in the beginning stages of possibly reconciling and possibly, getting back together. Because, at that point, he had been out in the streets, because we've been separated. We were separated for 2 years at the time of his death. We were separated 2 years. He'd been out there in the streets, lived his life, done all that. Got 2 women pregnant during our separation. Got 2 women pregnant. So yeah, like I said, so yeah, he was busy. But one of the other girls did have a baby, did have his son. So Glam Squad does have a younger brother. Let's see, he is 16 now. And I know, he had to deal with the baby mama drama. He had to deal with all the drama and all the stuff that he did not have to deal with me at that point. You was out there thinking that grass was gonna be green, and it ended up being 10 times worse. And now all of a sudden, oh, I want my family back. Oh, I should have never left. I should have worked it out with you. Da 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 da. But now at that point, I'm like, well, I don't even know, because we've been apart for a couple of years, and I'm actually liking the fact that I don't have to constantly watch over you. And so, like I said, we were going to counseling. We had did all this stuff. It was talks of us possibly getting back together, but unfortunately, he passed before we could even get to that point. So that never happened. Like I said, he died before we'd even get to the point of reconciliation. Would I have still been married to him if he was alive today? Absolutely not. Hell no. I would have not. Oh no, honey, we would have been divorced. We would have been divorced. I said we probably would have made it maybe another couple of years. But I know for a fact before Glam Squad got to kindergarten, we would have been. Oh, we would have been done. We would have been done. But it like I said, it was fucked up, everything that happened back then. But I forgave him. I forgave him for what happened, because I had to actually grow from that and learn from that and realize that, yeah, I was not perfect in that marriage either. I wasn't perfect. I didn't make shit any easier, even though everybody, oh, well, you the victim and he shouldn't have did this. I didn't make it no easy. And I know I didn't make it no easy. Like I said, that's not me making excuses for what he did, but I know that the things that I did could have been done a whole lot differently. I know that now in my 40s, but of course at 22, 23, 24, yeah, I didn't know none of that. And that's just a condensed version of that story, honey. When I tell you I have stories, that's just one of them. That's just one, and that's just a condensed version of that story. But man, like I said, I can understand from both Tina's side and from Teddy's side why it went the way that it went. It could have been and should have been handled a whole lot differently, but I believe that Tina should have left when you found out about all of the women that he'd been with, because at that point he pretty much let you know that he wasn't happy and he didn't want to be there. I'm not saying that he didn't love Tina. I'm sure that he loved Tina, but he wasn't in love with her no more. He wasn't. He couldn't have been in love with her, or else he wouldn't have did all that. He wouldn't have did all that. Yeah, men cheat. Women cheat. Everybody cheat. I mean, but a one and done. But if this is something that's constantly happening, yeah, there's an issue. There's an unresolved issue that ain't nobody talking about.